Okay, so let's get started. So, how's it going, everyone? My name is Matt Torres. I'm Tellous in Horizon Worlds. If you've seen, Mega Tasty, Survivor, things like that, that was worlds I helped build um, with my company, me and Ashley, Ashes to Ashes, our company, VR and Review. Uh, I've been in the Horizon Worlds. I've been building in Horizon Worlds since September 2020. So seen the platform evolve quite a bit. But gotta say, this is my favorite version of the platform yet, and I'll show you why. It's why we're all here. So let me share my screen here. I'll do entire screen. It's okay, we're gonna see my double of me. All right. So the reason why is because of our brand new friend in the desktop editor, the Gen AI button. So I'm gonna wait for this world to load. I'm making a brand new world. Um, give it a sec. This guy right here. So this button right here opens up this new tab. And so I'm gonna do my best to use the magnifier. Let me get that going. Magnifying disappeared on me. Cool. So Windows Escape. Great. So I'll be pushing that every now and then if I remember the button to do it. But basically what I want to do this session is go through, let me pull up my notes here. Close them for a second. All right, so we're going to learn about how to ask for specific code examples, and we're going to learn how to improve the output of the scripting side of the Gen AI. And then all this is just to help you get skills to speed up your building process, using these scripting generations. So if you don't already have it, of course, you need the Horizon Worlds desktop editor. So I'm just going to assume everybody has the Horizon Worlds desktop editor. And if you don't have it, Google it. If you need the link, put it in the chat. Somebody will probably share that with you happily, I'm sure. So yeah, so the main thing we want to think about when generating scripts is, well, I guess we can look at this list, right, and kind of get some ideas. But basically, that's the thing. We want to kind of have an idea of what we want. So this is assuming that you already kind of know the world you want to build. So just to be, thorough here, when you open up your brand new world in the Horizon Worlds desktop editor, you have this button up here, the Gen AI button. That's going to open this whole tab on the right side here, where you have all your options for generating different things in Horizon Worlds. Well, for this session, we're going to focus on generating scripts. So let's click that and see what it opens. So here we have let's see, so it says get help generating code that adds interactive behavior to your world. So we've got a list of ideas of things we could potentially generate with this panel here. We could click one of those and it'll just, prompt it, and we'll start to get a code output that we could essentially copy paste in our scripts and hope that it does the functionality that it describes. I do want to preface with AI is, it can be it's new. It's in its new stages, right, of being developed. So it's not always going to get it right, and that's okay because we can continue having a conversation with it in just plain English, right, and get it, massage it into what we want it to ultimately do in the end. So there is a bit of a level of like sort of needing to uh, do some trial and error. But remember, that's okay. That's no reason to stop and say it's bad or whatever. Just work with it. and you're going to learn some of those techniques today. So what do we have down here? We have this model selector, which offers two different choices here. Uh, Llama 3.1, which is one of Meta's open source AI models that is super great. Um, Great for having conversations with, and it knows some Horizon World stuff. And then we got specialists here, which is more for just getting like straight code answers. Um, and yeah, it's just finely tuned for uh, getting you those code answers. So right down here, we've got our big input box, and it basically says we can ask a question about scripting or request specific behavior or script, and we can include attachments by putting an @ symbol and then the name of the file. So we'll go through and demo that attachment aspect just so we can see like how it could even update logic that you already have in World. But for now, for this beginning intro, I just want it to generate a simple click. So let me move this chat a little bit higher. Uh, yeah, repeat for benefits. So I'm reading your chat there too. But just to give you a heads up, there's going to be some points uh, where I take a look at the questions. I mean, you see it's on my screen, so it's kind of always there. Uh, but I'll have some moments during the demo and during when we're updating the code through iterations, and then when we're in the advanced section, uh, and at the end we'll do a Q&A. So just some touch points for questions. If you uh, if you have any questions, I'll check them out here after this demo. So let's start by asking it to let's see, what do we want to ask? We want to say like create a script where something happens when I press left click. So let's see what it generates. So as you may notice, that answer right there, this whole answer, I bet you is super good. And we'll read parts of it here. We're going to skim it. But I think what's really cool about AI is that you can ask it to answer in formats that work best for your learning style. I think it's important to remember that with the state of the Gen AI in the Horizon Worlds desktop editor, you still need to keep approaching it with like I need to learn this code that it's spitting out because we need to be good stewards of the code when we go to publish it, right? Like if it has any bugs, we need to know what it's doing so that we can go and fix some bugs if any, get reported by any of our users that are in the world playing. So let's just quickly skim what's going on here. We've got, it's basically saying that it's using the on index trigger down event to correspond with left click. Uh, Here we can see there's some code generated, see different colors of stuff. So, you can not know how to code, and that's fine. Uh, you can ask follow-up questions of like, what is it doing? Like, for instance, let's take a look here and see. Yeah, maybe I want it to like really tell me here what console log is doing on left click. Uh, so I could say like, what does console log do? Oh, console log do. Okay, well, so here's an opportunity to show you some cool uh, tips that I've been learning as I've been sort of working with the uh, with this Gen AI uh, capability. So one of my favorite things to ask of Llama is I'll say answer concisely What does console log do? So we'll try this one, and then I have another tip. Okay, so cool. This it is a little more concise, right? And so here I can actually read console log outputs a message to the console for debugging purposes. Cool. If you're in Horizon Worlds and you've been scripting for a while, duh, we knew that one. But it's still fun to sort of like see how to get it to answer things that maybe we already know to validate, how we're building the prompts. So, that being said, like here's another thing we might do is like, as you can see, it keeps spitting out code on all these prompts. So maybe I might say, respond with no code output, answer concisely what does console.log do. Oh, well, hit or miss. Sometimes it gets it, sometimes it doesn't. It's totally fine. There's also just like start up a new chat. Sometimes the memory of it is, it's just like stuck on certain ideas. So maybe if we do a new one, let's see, respond with no, there you go. So respond with no code output, answer concisely. What does console log do? Console log is a function that outputs arguments to the console, typically used for debugging purposes. So just sharing ways that you can kind of massage it into place. But let's go back and look at the logic that we asked it to spit out. And if there's any questions about what you've seen so far, go ahead and ask. I can pause for a moment as we digest what we just saw. Um, yeah, I think it's important to remember that it's all trial and error, and it's okay for it to have some errors, and we'll just figure out how to get it to start to work for us. Because once we develop that pattern, you can do it again, later when you're, maybe working on some harder problems. You can start to pad it with the extra formats and suggestions that you've learned along the way. Yeah. So if no questions, let's look at the behavior that's happening here. Actually, let me just make sure I'm scrolled all the way down. Yes, good. Uh, let's look at the behavior here. So we have, some code. I could see left click action, input. So if I didn't know anything about scripting, the most important thing is to just kind of look for patterns, things that like I can relate to, right? Like input, it's like, I've learned that over time in life. So I can see player controls. Can we prompt with a picture? No, you cannot. But you can just maybe something like, what if you like ask Meta AI, like the website or Messenger Meta AI, and you put in the picture there. Oh, I don't know. It's doing that direct message. And have it explain to you. If you have that feature, I'm not sure. I'm trying to get creative with you here, um, but no, if you've got words, describer words, that's pretty much what's gonna work best. Um, so so yeah, so let's assume that it's looking good. It looks reasonable. Um, and here's another great aspect about the Horizon Worlds desktop editor. uh, when it's writing and it's spitting out these scripts, this little check mark here, that's actually a confirmation that it compiled. So that's something that you don't often see in these AI tools. So this is a really great way to sort of like sanity check the code. If you see that little check mark, it actually built it, and it's pretty certain that it's going to run. So let's press this create new script button here, which will cause it to open my code editor. All right. So what do we see here? We see, uh, you know, some sections that basically that code that we saw in the chat. I see my player controls here. I see left trigger. As I hover over these words, I can see more about them. Uh, so basically, I can give my best guess and be like, well, that green part right there that says perform action when left click is pressed. And I just learned what console log does. So like my expectation is when I left click, I should see this message. Cool. Well then let's give it a go. So here's where here's where you need a little bit of Horizon Worlds knowledge though. Actually, it's telling us. So it's important that you read the whole chat message, like read the response. Like if it's too much text, tell it, say, break it down into categories so I can read it easier. Or tell me the things that I definitely need to know before I implement the script. Things like that are important to remember if you're not super experienced with Horizon Worlds. So here we see at the bottom says, please set the script to local mode in the scripting panel and ensure the entity with this component is locally owned to execute correctly. So this is where we're going to, we might see a little bit of an issue with the output, but it's no problem because you remember the point of using the AI is to support our learning journey. So let's add a uh, a grabbable component. This is something that you sort of need to know before you even prompt for this. Uh, but alternatively, we could say like, what kind of let's just do that. Let's go through the whole steps. What kind of entity can I attach the script to? And notice I misspelt there because I type really fast. So I type fast but not accurate. Uh, so notice that it doesn't matter. It's okay. It like figures it out. Best to be, spelling your stuff correctly, but sometimes it's okay. So here we can see you can attach the script to an attachable entity. So let's try that. Um, we will add a shape. Let's just add a cube. You're gonna need to minimize these for a sec. All right. And we'll need to set the motion. So what I did was I dragged a cube out from the build menu. And I clicked on it, I selected it so that my properties panel shows the properties of that cube. I'll select motion, I'll set it to interactive, and I'll set the interaction to grabbable, which is already set. Um, you know, technically don't need that, but it's okay. We'll do it because that's the way I know it's going to work here in just a sec. So down here in the bottom, we'll find avatar attachable. We'll change that to anchor. Um, so that means that when the object or the cube is released on myself, on my avatar, it will attach to the head of the avatar. Okay. Um, so let's watch that in action. Let me figure out how to move this thing.
Oh,
So we'll grab and then we'll release. Oh, not big enough. Maybe I need to make it supersize. Let's try that. Supersize. Grab, release. Okay. Trust that it's on my head. It's there. Um, so here is where we can test that script that we brought in earlier for the left click. we can go ahead and when we select that cube, all the way at the bottom of the properties panel, we can find that script ready to be registered to this component. So, or this to this entity. So we'll click on it to add it. And I'll switch it over to the console here, right? Because we said on left click, we want it to print out a message. Well, let's go in there and see what happens. Oh, so, oh, one sec. Let me get that back up. In the meantime, I'll check for questions. Do you think it updates with release now? Not sure I understand your question there, King. Do you mean like the ability for it to respond? Like how it responds in scripts, or? Got it. Okay. I think Josh knows what you're saying, but if you want to clarify a little more, I can answer. All right, let's try that again. Let's double check that oh, hello, that the script is still attached. Okay, good. We'll go in, grab it, release. Let's get it in the middle of it. All right. Oh, you know what? I forgot to open my console. Oh, right. This is an issue. So right here, it's saying failed to call method start on script component. And it says register input action listener can only be called on local script attached to locally owned objects. That was that thing that it told us about. Something that I'm still trying to figure out is that when these like local scripts are generated, it leaves out a piece of code that is to check to see if it's actually owned before doing these events here. So just for the sake of like doing it now, like doing it quickly, I'm going to add it. So basically that code is this. So you can say if this dot world dot get server player is equal to this dot entity dot world or owner dot get, then we'll return. Okay. So that's saying if the server owns the script, don't try to do this player control stuff. And that's just like, I've just done that over time. I'm sure you could prompt it out of the model, but that is how we're going to solve that for now. For this script, it did also tell me to change its execution mode. So in the script panel, when I click the three dots of the script, I need to switch that over to local. All right. So let's see. I've got my console open. I'm gonna try this this grab again. Okay. All right. And if I left, so it's attached to me. And the reason I know is because of that little holster icon on the bottom right that says a Z. That's the unholster button. So it said if I put it on an attached entity, if I put that script on there and I left click, it should work. Let's see. Oh, it did not. Probably could have seen that coming. But here is what we can do instead. Instead of attaching it, let's just make it, I'm going to take off the attachment and I'm going to make it small. What I'll do is when I grab it, then I'll left click here. Huh. So let's go back to the code and figure out why that is. Left click. So player controls. Oh, you know what? That's the thing here. So remember earlier I told you can hover over stuff. So as I go and I double check the output of the AI, I want to go line by line and make sure everything's written out correctly. So here, uh, I could, I could double check, hey, is left trigger the right button to use for your left click? If I hover over left trigger, it says that that's the right mouse click on the desktop. So let's change that. Uh, if I backspace here and I press the period, I can see a list of the available um, actions. I know that it's right primary though. So here I can double check. Oh, I joke. It's right trigger. There you go. So now you can see desktop left mouse click. Great. Let's save it. And let's go back in. So here we can see the state of the compilation of the code. We see that it's re-executed. That means we can press our play button, jump back down, and try our logic again. Oh, you know what? I never noticed that, but there's a little star there. I guess that's how you know if it actually hooked up. If I left click, there you go, left click pressed. So here's the thing I want y'all to think about. For those of you who are still learning TypeScript, or just like you're brand new to TypeScript, as you can see, like, it's been about 30 minutes, probably less. Like if you were to continue having a conversation with the AI, you could eventually solve it, maybe max an hour, right? um, that's important because if you did not know how to do that before, that's what's so great about these AI assistants. They're there to speed up the process, right? So maybe that would take, I mean, the fact that it took maybe up to an hour, that's really helpful. For those of you who know how to script, you're going to start to maybe at first you have a bit of a slower start of like trying to figure out what ways can I prompt it so that it's really, really helping me out. Um, but eventually, once you've got that sort of like that tool belt of prompt styles and formats that you prefer, you're going to really get rolling, and things that maybe took you 3 days will take you a few hours. Um, and yeah, just like you have to break the problems down uh,
Mom,
so that they're easier to digest,
Mom,
easier to work with. Um,
Tamia want you to
but
cook.
eventually you'll get going, you'll get rolling,
She said
and
she wants you to
get a
cook her
lot of
birthday
benefit out
dinner.
of having
She on
having
her way
somebody
with
there
the
that's
food
that's
now.
ready to listen and help you at any given time. So,
Huh?
that being said, let's continue
She said they
iterating
on their way now with the stuff.
um, on this code. But if
Her
anybody has
birthday
questions,
cake and
remember,
her birthday dinner.
you can ask them and I'll check them at these
Huh?
checkpoints. So this is the next checkpoint.
Yeah, she's gonna
As
be
I
surprised, but she on her way
think
now
about
with the
how I
cake.
want to further modify this code, I'll I'll read the chat. So let's see. We have this thing that we're holding,
She on her way now with the cake.
and maybe we want to swing it. Uh, so we can use something like avatar pose. I keep doing that. Let me just move it to the left side and then I don't have to worry about it. Avatar pose, sword. All right. Let's see if out of the box I'm able to swing it. So not exactly, but I think it's because of the button icon. I'm gonna change that to fire. Hmm. Oh, this right here also, I want to turn off these actions on the grabbable. So that's just these buttons that show up automatically when you are using the interactive grabbable items. Let's see if I can get it to swing. So here's something I would like help on. Um, so I'm going to use my trick, right? Answer concisely, and don't output any code. How do I make the avatar swing the grabbable? Okay, well, let's see. To make the avatar swing a grabbable entity, you can use the play avatar pose animation by name method on the player class, specifying an animation name like swing weapon. You can trigger this when the player grabs an entity. Yep. So let's go back, and here we remember from our last code that we have uh, a space for what happens when the left click is pressed, right? We confirmed that by clicking and seeing that a message was output in the console. So this thing is saying to do this this method here. And I could say like, show me code for that. So here's where we got to start kind of playing by heart. Like we're a surgeon now. We have to remember the code that we have, and then see this new code and treat it as like needing to be blended in some way, right? What I like to do is get it out of this space here, and I'll just make like I'll double click this like area here to make a new section. Um, so let's look at our code here. So we remember how our last code looked, right? There's similar aspects that we're seeing here. So we can start to see that pattern unfold here. Um, and that's going to teach us more about how these scripts are created, right? Like what are the things that are the same across scripts? Uh, so here is that. Well, here's a message or a type of thing code here. It's not exactly the same as the one that was listed or written before. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it over here in Notepad. I like to take the output and sort of like paste it somewhere else so I can copy out individual words. And I could say like, show me how to do this. That's the one you told me about before, so I really want to see that one. Okay. So let's read it from the top. To make a player swing the grabbable, you need to play an avatar grip pose animation. Here's an example how to do it. Okay, let's skip a little bit. First, ensure you have a reference to the player object, then call the method with the desired animation name. Okay, so let's copy this first one, and we'll put it in our code. We'll overwrite the last message. Okay. And so we want to bring the parts that we're learning from this new code and bring it into our existing logic. So what do we see here? What's new? Line 5 here is doing something with the player, saying get local player. Cool. So that must be that reference, that player reference it talked about. And now line 6 here talks about play avatar grip pose animation by name that it mentioned in the previous message. Now there is a difference here where we're seeing this avatar grip pose animation's name dot fire. It didn't say swing weapon or anything like that. It put fire here. So we could try that. Another thing we can do is like if we want to like really explore thing that we have, well, first we'll need to get it over there. Let's get it over there here. But if we want to continue exploring, uh, we can, we'll do something here in a second. Let me just address this error that I'm seeing. So you see these red squigglies, that's not good. So we have to play like one of these things is not like the other here. So if we go back to our code, remember, we're looking for patterns, things that are different, things that are the same. Here at the top, we can see that there's this player, avatar, grip pose, animation names. And if we look over here, that's not present over here. So we have to go, we can assume that we can copy those over, and that might solve our problem. But that's pattern recognition, y'all. Another one here, button icon, right? Oh, did I delete one? And that's why it's not, yeah, that's why. So let's put that back. Okay, cool. So now we see that there's certain words that need to come from the Horizon Core library. Okay. So we have the new code that's right here at the bottom. And it says fire and it's all green, everything's good, no red lines. But if we're curious, we could like erase that and like add a dot and see what other options there are, right? Because maybe I just want to see what else there is to do. So there's cancel throw, charge throw. So a few other options, and we can trial and error those and see what outputs we get. For now, let's just keep it fire. Let's keep it the way it kind of spit it out to us. And let's go back in here. All right, we see our code compiling. We'll jump on in, grab our cube, and left click. All right, and we're swinging our cube around. Pretty good stuff. So that is iteration, right? That's like building on the code that we already built. And then finding a moment where it's like, hey, I need help. I want to add this extra functionality, and I gotta play, one of these things not like the other with another bit of output, get that stuff that I need, that new logic into existing logic, and then test it out, and then voila, we've got something. We've got exactly what we were looking for. So yeah, that's basically how you can, keep building on your code. Let's see, how are we doing on time? 7:40. Cool. So if there's any questions, is there a prompt limit? I believe there is rate limits. I haven't hit them. So that's good. If you find out what that limit is, or if somebody already knows, share it in the chat, share it in the forums, in the Discord, wherever, just to keep everybody informed. That's gonna be the best thing we can do for each other. Why weren't, oh, that hit enter a little too quick. Let's see. Wait for that question to come through. In the meantime, let's start to do, just as a final sort of demo here. Let's take some. Do we have time for another example? That's what I'm hoping. Why weren't you able to just ask it to create the entire code at once? That is a perfect segue. Perfect segue. Because here's my thoughts around that sort of prompting. Like I mentioned earlier, there's this need to still sort of be learning and absorbing the output and sort of working with it back and forth, right? Like there's some editing you got to do, find out what, you need to discern what needs to stay, what needs to go. So things like a really complex output or a really complex prompt where you're basically saying like, build this whole feature for me, like build this whole like world and all of its logic is is a lot for the AI to spit out, right? It's going to be a lot of output. So at that point, you're sort of setting yourself up uh, to have to read a lot of stuff that you need to wrap your head around. And sure, you might be able to get that to happen. We'll actually try that here in just a moment. Uh, but remember, like break it. Like if you start to see that you're not understanding the output, it's too much. There's too many moving parts. There's things that are breaking here and there and everywhere. You have to break it down to just like smaller components, right? Like take it one sort of interaction at a time, one step at a time. Um, so a couple other tips that that you can remember for when you're prompting these scripting uh, uh, AI. So one thing is to say, let's start a new one here, and I'll just demonstrate it. We can say, can you uh, give me a step-by-step guide on how I can um, change the camera to first person when I grab, and we'll reference our code here left when I grab the entity. Oh, is the AI save conversations based on saved world? Can you continue conversations another day in another world? As far as like memory context, I'm not too sure about that, but here I'll scroll down a bit and you might be able to see these other history items. Those are from other worlds um, where I have used the Gen AI. Uh, as far as the history, I think it does a pretty good job of like um, I'm not sure if it's actually looking back, but it feels like it sometimes that it's like sort of taking your whole chats messages that you've sent so far and using that as guiding its next output for you. Um, you might remember from earlier in the demo where I was trying to ask it to answer concisely and it kept saying other things about the previous non-console log message. That's kind of what I mean about that. It has some level of looking back. So here I asked it to do something step by step. So this is one major tip that is it gives the AI a really good shot at helping you solve your problem because it sort of has to figure out like, well, I got to break it down. I got to break it down for you to be able to read it. So here's a let's look at this output. Um, so we've got add the following line to the top of your script. So this is great because it's using the script that I set the at for, right? Like I put at left click action, and let me just type that again because didn't I didn't slow down at that part, and I really want y'all to see this. So when you push at, this drop down appears where you're able to select the files that are actually in your scripts right now, right? And so when you click them, they get added right here to this section. This is super good because this is how it can read stuff that you've already written and improve upon it, right? So when we're looking at this output, it's telling us like this is what you need to do next for the code that you're referencing in your prompt. So it's saying add the following line to the top of your script. I think it's still important to don't just copy and paste everything. Always put it in either a separate file or a notepad or something. Just because you want to discern what should go in and not. So let's paste that here, right? So it said something about local camera module. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing that here. Um, and it very well could be because I haven't actually added the API to this project, to this world. So let's add the camera API. And let's just ignore the rest of the prompt for now. Let's go take it from the top. New chat, gonna copy and paste. Oh, let's go back. Here. Copy, new chat, paste. Okay, there it goes. Look at that. So interesting, right? Like how it just like sometimes it says some stuff. You just gotta really like not be careful, but like keep your, you know, be conscious about what these outputs are. Like just take some time to really think about them and pause before you copy and paste it into your live code. So that you can really just like don't get yourself stuck in a hole. So now we're saying you need to import the module, right? And there it really gave us an import, right? And so once again, pattern detection. Let's go back. Let's see. Where do we see that import logic like that, right? So we see it here at the top. Always try to go like line by line, right? Like take it from the top and go line by line. Um, that's how you're going to have the most success when trying to understand what a script is doing on your own, right? You can always then figure out the prompts to ask the AI, like, what do you mean by this? What do you mean where? Like, tell me exactly where to put it. And it might get you there. So perfect. We got our imported logic. I want to read this question here before I continue. So I asked it twice to tell me instructions, and both times it said it's instructed to import custom classes before, which seems backwards. That's fair. It's ever evolving. There's what I love about AI news is that literally every day there's something new. So, you can I personally listen to the podcast AI for Humans. That's how I keep up to date with my AI news. Um, but there's, plenty of stuff out there to go read and find out. Let's continue here. Set the camera mode to first person. So with the right triggers pressed, you want to switch to first person mode. Okay, you can do this by calling. And here's an interesting one, right? Because it's not actually giving us the code to copy paste. Oh, well, it is on the next line. Got it. Sometimes you got to read ahead. Actually, that's a really good point too, is um, treat these instructions very much like you treat recipes or like building a play area for your kids and you don't want it to like break in 6 months. Yeah, don't do as I say, not as I do. Uh, so read through the instructions so you can get your head wrapped around what's going on. Um, and most importantly, if it is a lot of instructions, just I'll show you here another trick of how you can make it speak in your way or a way that works for you. So we've got more sample code here, and then we've got this blurb down here talking about basically a summary of what happened in the code, and just another reminder of doing the local mode execution. So it's being very thorough there. Let's paste here. So let's look at this code. I like what I'm seeing here because the class here that it's using is the one that we have in the code already. So it makes it easier for our eyes to detect a pattern. And even more so if I, continue to use the tab that's in the editor, so then it colors everything nicely. So, oh, I put in the wrong one. There. See what's really cool in this scenario is that I could like tab back and forth like that, right? And just like train my eyes to kind of see the changes. So here I see there's this new code block event thing for grab start where it's setting the camera mode to first person, and another one for grab end where it's setting the camera mode to third person. And then I think the rest is just the existing code. So that's super good. Like that's a really good output. That I can straight up copy paste. I've checked it. I'm certain of it. And even if I'm not, I can just undo and try again. But yeah, right here it says on grab start, it's going to flip me to first person. And then when I release it, it'll switch me back. So let's test it. Jump in, grab. Here we go. So I'm swinging. I'm swinging. uh, and when we go back with X, we're back in third person. So that is an example of like something that's kind of few more steps. Um, and yeah, and you know, it can kind of handle it. Something, you know, what I would want to challenge y'all to try next is have it do entity to entity communication, right? Like have it be like when I hit something, you know, call this, you know, talk to this game manager that's saving the score, right? Because when we're saving player persistent variable or leaderboard data, we need to do that on the server side. We can't do that on the local side. So that's a really good like next step for this specific demo. Is like go save, you know, go call, have it, the AI help you call the other entity and then save that score. And I wonder what would a prompt like that even look like, and what kind of output. That'd be super cool if somebody does it and shares it in the Discord or the forums even. I'll definitely kudo your post if you put that in the forum. Tag me too. Uh, so yeah, so uh, you know, I did mention one thing that I was going to show y'all. Let me just show you right before we wrap this up. Uh, so something I like to do just to kind of make the AI a little more personalized to me is I like I like having a laugh. I like feeling like I want to have fun with, you know, this creation process in Horizon Worlds. So something I might prompt for is like let's start from like a new chat. I want to say like uh I want you to respond to me in a really fun tone. I don't know. Be super playful with your responses. Also, don't bombard me with a bunch of code output and text. And so now I can ask something like, can you show me how to save scores to a leaderboard? So check it out. My favorite part of AI. Look at this response. It's kind of corny, but it's really cute too. Like it's like it's charming. It's like, oh yeah, leaderboards are so much fun. Let's get the score saving party started. To save scores to a leaderboard, you'll need to use the world's class and its leaderboard property. Here's a sneak peek. Did you see it? Like, look at that. Just replace with your actual leaderboard name. It has this like, look at that. Want more deets? I can give you a step-by-step guide on how to make it happen. I can be like, let's do it. Give me that guy. Oh yeah. Oh, he's like, it's consistently wanting to get this leaderboard party started. So So yeah, like that is awesome, right? Because as you read it, as you read that like fun thing or whatever mood you want, it kind of carries on, right? Like you keep reading it as if it's still having fun, even though it's like really, you know, rote, like really technical stuff, and that keeps you motivated, keeps you wanting to keep learning. So yeah, so uh, that's been my experience with scripting in the Horizon Worlds desktop editor. There is time for final Q&A if there's any. Uh, Basically, you know, we went over how you can prompt the AI to do simple mechanics and then how to iterate on your code. You got to see, going in there, testing it, doing this trial and error, having these advanced prompts and how to prompt it with your own style and different modes like explaining things in steps. So yeah, that's what there is to do in Horizon Worlds Gen AI scripting side of things. Let me know what what questions y'all have, and I'll be happy to answer them now. What's an API? Great question, Kevin. So APIs, that's an AI question. You know what? That's an AI question. Let's say, how would you describe what an API is? Let's see what it says. Oh, you see what it's doing here? Let's reel it back. Make it a fun, super short answer. Awesome pizza interface. Just kidding. It's actually application programming interface, a messenger between different software systems that help them order and deliver data pizza or not pizza, depending on the API. Okay. So that's, it's going with an analogy there, but basically it's the idea of like there's aspects of the code that do certain things, like for example, the camera API, right? We're working with the camera, uh, having conversations between the components that we're creating and telling the camera like, hey, I need you to do this and that and so on and so forth. So that's the simple simple way to put it. Yeah. So uh yeah, like I just showed you though, don't be afraid to ask specifically llama here about your just like questions of anything, right? Like just of things that surround the scripting too, and even the desktop editor itself. I didn't know it had that personality. I know, right? It's a hidden. I just showed you the way to unlock the AI to be a friend. Don't get too attached though. I don't want to see you on the headlines talking about crying because they switched the model and now it doesn't know who you are. Well, that's been a demonstration of all there is in Gen AI scripting in Horizon Worlds desktop. Uh, this has been recorded. I hope it gets shared. I am super grateful for everybody showing up. Uh, that's gonna be it. So I'll see y'all in the Discord and the forums. Thank you, everybody.